Coming up on Inside Look, presented by Cadillac, the first of a two-part special, on the field at Wrigley with Mr. Cub himself, Ernie Banks.
And that's what I enjoyed about being here at Wrigley Field. Every year is a new situation.
Banks was the man who created the pride of Cubs baseball and is among the men who changed the landscape of the game itself.
Look up the word loyalty. That's what Ernie Banks is. He's a loyal person.
The Banks years were another chapter of the Cubs' epic championship drought. But there was his relentless spirit of never giving up.
Did all the losing, all these years, even after you retired, did it beat you down to where you went, it is what it is?
And also during this special edition, Ernie makes a historic return to the batter's box.
When was the last time you think you stood in this batter's box?
Let's play 2. It's Inside Look with Ernie Banks, Part 1, next.
Hello and welcome to Inside Look. I'm David Kaplan. It was a perfect summer day in 1967 when Ernie Banks walked into the Cubs clubhouse. And in speaking to his exhausted teammates, he uttered the words that defined his career, "Let's play 2." That catchphrase alone defined Ernie's love for the game and his 19 seasons of Cubs baseball. At 81 years young, his enthusiasm and glorious optimism still remains. What means more, going into the Hall of Fame or walking out that door when we leave here and there's a statue of Ernie Banks that as long as the Chicago Cubs franchise is around, you will be Mr. Cub and that statue will be there?
That's amazing to me. That's amazing to me, but I'm truthfully happy and overjoyed that Billy Williams, my friend, and Ron Santo, my friend, whom I played with, and Harry Carey's on the other end, who broadcast a lot of games that I played. But those two guys, Billy Williams and Ron Santo, were really, people that I played here with. They were much younger than me, and I saw how they played. They played so hard with so much spirit. They were strong competitors, talented. And I'm just glad that they're up there too.
I want to take you back to your parents because you said you grew up very poor. You grew up in a time of awful racism. Billy Williams told me that he left baseball for a few days, and I think Buck O'Neill came to his home and said, "Do you want me to tell everyone that you're not tough enough to make it?" He said, "All right, I'm coming back." And you couldn't stay in the same hotels, you couldn't eat in the same restaurants, you couldn't use the same water fountain. In fact, you went in to buy candy at a bus stop one day, and they told you had to go around to the back.
Yes.
How did you stay so positive where no bitterness?
I didn't know anything about it. I played with a guy named Gene Baker, and I'm sure a lot of the fans remember him. He's a little bit older. So what he wanted to do with me is just let me experience things. He didn't want me to tell me about it. Just get the experience. So I got off the bus. I said, "Gene, I'm going to the bus station to get some candy. You want any?" He just looked at me. He didn't say anything. So I got off the bus, walked in the front door of the Greyhound bus station, and everybody stopped and started looking at me, and I was just looking at them. What's going on? And this guy came up to me, white guy came up to me and said, "Hey, you got to go around the back. You can't be in here." So I did. So in my life, I've had people that will help me that, I had no idea what was right and what was wrong, but he came and sent me around there, went around, got the candy, came back, and I stepped on the bus, and Gene Baker was laughing. He was just laughing. And I looked at him and said, "What's the matter with you? You crazy? You sent me in the bus station. I couldn't go there." I didn't say anything to him. But he just started laughing. He was a remarkable person. I learned a lot from him.
Your mom was a huge influence on your life. She was always positive, even when times were at their toughest. Is that why you are always smiling, always let's play 2, always excited? Never, ever do we see Ernie Banks have a bad day.
Well, I got a lot of that from her. You're right. I mean, she was always positive. My dad only made $10 a week, and she would make that do, and went to Goodwill to buy me a jacket to go to a prom. And she was always positive about life, and I saw that with her and with my dad. And it just became a part of me. And then when I joined the Cubs, you know, I was with Gene Baker in spring training and met a lot of the guys, and I didn't know them, and they didn't know me, and I introduced myself to them, and I got a letter one day from Mr. Wrigley in spring training saying, my coaches say you're not trying. Where there's smoke, there's fire. I want you to meet me at the ballpark tomorrow morning. I didn't know what he was talking about, so I did. I went to the ballpark, met him there, and we sit in the grandstand a little bit, and so he just looked at me and he said, now I want to hear your side. And I said, Mr. Wrigley, I'm doing all I can. That's all I want to hear. And he got in the car and he left. But later on, I mean, a guy named Fred Martin, who was the pitching coach for the Cubs and a coach, told me that Mr. Wrigley told all the coaches, know what loyalty is. Look up the word loyalty. That's what Ernie Banks is. He's a loyal person, and you all look up that word. So that's what they did, and they left me alone, and I came to the Cubs and just started playing.
You were put in a taxi cab, and the taxi cab pulls up here, and you said, where are we? And you looked, you said, I'm at Wrigley Field. Take us back to that moment in time.
Oh, that was a really, really strange type of moment. Me and a guy named Bill Dickey was rooming together out south at the hotel. So Buck O'Neill, the manager of Kansas City Monarchs, called. He answered the phone, and Bill hung up and came over and told me, he said, well, Buck need us down in the lobby tomorrow morning at 7 o'clock. And I didn't say, for what? He said, oh, 7 o'clock, we've got to be down there to meet him. So we get downstairs, get in the cab. He was in the cab. He didn't say anything to us. And we started going out, heading to the lake. And we were talking about different things, what we're going to do in the winter, and our mother and our fathers and our girlfriends and all of that. And all of a sudden, we're at Wrigley Field. And we looked up and said, what is this? We saw the red sign outside. It said Wrigley Field. I said, we're at Wrigley Field. Buck got up, opened the door, we got out, and went upstairs. It was totally a mystery to me. I didn't know where we were, what we were doing, and why we were there.
You then sign a contract for $2,000. You pick up the phone and you call your dad, and what did you tell him?
I said, Dad, we are rich. And he laughed. He said, what? I said, we are rich. We're with the Cubs. So it hadn't made the papers, and so he didn't read about it. So he didn't say anything. He didn't comment. He was very quiet, recluse type guy. He didn't say anything, you know. He just like, it can't be. It's not real. So I chatted with him and talked to him about coming to Wrigley Field to see a game. And he said, oh, I might, because he had never been on a plane. Been on a train, but never a plane. And I said, well, come on to Wrigley Field and see us play and get a chance to see Chicago. So he did. I mean, he walked around the stand, and people knew who he was. They wanted autographs, and he kept walking and running from them, but he had never experienced that in his life.
Still to come on Inside Look, Ernie Banks, the versatile fielder.
Came up to me and said, you're going to play first base tomorrow night in San Francisco. I said, what?
And later, the crash of '69.
I said, what can we do? What can I do to help get the spirit back? We have lost it.
Inside Look, Ernie Banks will return in a moment.
The Cadillac CTS Sports Sedan was designed with near-perfect weight balance from front to back. And back to front. For exceptional control from left to right and right to left. We don't just make luxury cars. We make Cadillacs. Take advantage of this exceptional offer on the exhilarating CTS Sports Sedan today.
The Bulls meant a lot to me growing up. I know that I'm a role model now. I can't fail these kids.
Once upon a time, we were all kids and we all admired the NBA and basketball players.
People doubted me all the time. I couldn't do this, I won't do that.
I could relate to a lot of kids because I've been there. I've been through the rough times.
I feel like it's my job to tell them that they can do it.
It's very humbling as a player to have that kind of responsibility.
Now, you don't have to be a great basketball player, but everybody can be a good person. Great teamwork is what this organization is all about.
How will you celebrate when your tax refund finally arrives? Hopefully by calling 1-800-SAFE-AUTO for affordable state minimum coverage. 1-800-SAFE-AUTO. State minimum coverage, maximum savings.
We now return to Inside Look. Ernie Banks.
In 1947, a black newspaper publisher and ex-Negro League pitcher, William Blair, saw you hit in a softball game. You were 16, slug a long homer off an established pitcher named Brannon. He said Brannon was the fastest pitcher he had ever seen. No one could get a solid lick against him. And you stepped in at age 16 and hit a long home run. And he said,
"This is baseball?"
"This is softball."
Softball, okay.
And he said, "I knew at that moment you had to show Ernest everything one time, and he learned it quickly, and I knew he would be a star at the age of 16. Do you remember?
Yeah, I remember him real well. He was quite a guy. He kind of encouraged me to get into baseball, get into sports. He encouraged me to get into sports, and when I got into sports, he said that. He really said that, you know. To show me one thing, and that's when I came here. I never played other than the Kansas City Monarchs. When I came here, they moved Gene Baker from short to second, put me at short. So that's the way, you know, my life has been. I mean, it just show me one time. That's it. That's all I need. One time is all I need.
Cool Papa Bell was a big influence in your life.
Yes, he was.
And the famous saying is, he was so fast he could turn off the lights and be under the covers before the room got dark. What do you remember about him, and what was his influence on you?
Well, I remember every time we went to, I remember him first in Lubbock, Texas. He managed the minor league Kansas City Monarchs, and I played against them and got 5 hits or something. So after the game, he came to me and said, "Ernie, I'm going to recommend you to the big Kansas City Monarch." I didn't say anything to him. So he did. And next year, I was with the Kansas City Monarch, the big team. And from then on, every time we played in St. Louis, he lived in St. Louis, he would come to the hotel and sit down and talk to me and tell me things that's about his wisdom, you know, save your money, stay with this, don't do this, don't show out, don't show this. He would give me things to do, and I did all the things he said he did. And then when he went in the Hall of Fame, it was a great joy to me to see him. He was a wonderful man and really helped me a lot.
You played first base some. You played shortstop, won 2 MVPs on 5th place teams. That's how good a player you were. Which position did you enjoy playing more?
I enjoyed shortstop much better. You kind of in the middle of everything. You can see the catcher's sign, outfielders. You can see where the players are playing. You can feel how the team is doing. I mean, it's a whole big list of things that you can learn playing that position. I mean, you cover a lot of ground, left and right. You got to have agility, flexibility. You got to be very alert playing the position. And Gene and I worked a lot together on the double plays. I think we were the first black double play combination in baseball at that time. So it's a position that I really like, but I hurt my knee, and we had the rotating coaches in '62, and a guy named Elvin Tappy in LA came up to me and said, "You're going to play first base tomorrow night in San Francisco." I said, "What?" "You're going to play first base tomorrow night."
That's how you moved.
That's how I moved. So I got a first baseman glove, ran into the wall in Candlestick Park, hurt my knee. It was all right. It wasn't that bad. But that's how it happened. Elvin Tappy, they're the rotating coaches. He was the
right,
coach.
The College of Coaches.
College of Coaches. Did you remember that?
I remember that.
Yeah.
What was it like playing under that system? Because now people look back at it and they laugh and they say, boy, the Cubs were really mismanaged back then. What was it like to be a player on that?
Well, it was different, you know. I mean, you come to the park, you don't know who's playing, the lineup, who's in the lineup, who's not in the lineup. Lou Brock was here. But they were all different people.
Up next, a team of cruel destiny.
How they played, their ability, their determination.
And smiling through pain.
Did all the losing, all these years, even after you retired, did it beat you down to where you went? It is what it is.
Inside Look, Ernie Banks will return in a moment.
Direct injection. 265 foot-pounds of torque. All part of an engine built to effortlessly power through whatever challenge lies around the corner, no matter where that corner happens to be. The 308 horsepower Cadillac SRX, the most powerful standard engine in any luxury crossover. Take advantage of this exceptional offer on the stunning SRX crossover today.
Join the 3rd annual Cinco de Mayo Festival in Little Village this Friday through Sunday, May 4th, 5th, and 6th. An authentic celebration of Mexican culture with food, live Latin music, arts and crafts, and more. For more information, visit chicagoevents.com. Join host David Kaplan in a nightly roundtable, Chicago Tribune Live, presented by Captain Morgan. Every weeknight on Comcast Sportsnet, fans' best friend. Tomorrow, Castro and the Cubs kick off a 3-game series with Matt Kemp and the Dodgers at the Friendly Confines. Coverage begins at 12:30 with Subaru Cubs pregame live. Cubs, Dodgers, tomorrow at 12:30 on Comcast Sportsnet. Fans' best friend. Inside Look, Ernie Banks, presented by Cadillac, now continues.
If you think back to moments in everybody's life, there are certain moments that stand out in your mind. You go, wow, I remember that moment. I remember that moment. What moments stand out in your mind? A handful of them. Is it the first day you saw the red marquee out there that you pulled up and went, whoa, what am I doing here? The first day you played at Wrigley Field for the Cubs?
I said, what am I doing here?
What moments stand out in your mind?
When I had an audience with the Pope John, in 1969, I went to the Vatican. I had a friend that said, you going to Italy? I want to get you an audience with the Pope. I said, all right, and he did. I had an audience with Pope John. He spoke English, and he remembered me, and I was like, wow. Spoke English, and he remembered me.
And what was that like?
For the Cubs, huh? That was a real shock to me. That he spoke English, Pope John is his name. And he knew the Cubs, and he remembered me, and he blessed me. That was a powerful moment of my life.
Did you ask him to bless the Chicago Cubs?
No, I didn't ask him that.
That might have helped. 1967, you're in first. 69, you're leading all the way into August, into September, and everyone thinks this is finally going to be the year. That 3-year run, the Cubs really started to show some of the young talent, Ronnie Santo and Glenn Becker, you, and Billy Williams. Tell me about that period.
We were really playing great baseball. We got off to a good start. I hit 2 home runs against the Phillies. On the way to New York, I had mentioned to all the players, Fergie Jenkins, Ron Santo, going to New York now. The New York going to have writers in the press in the clubhouse as soon as the game's over. So take it easy. So they listened to me. So when we got there and we lost the first game, that's what happened. You know, Dick Young and all of them came down. They had writers. Ronnie was really hot because Don Young
dropped a fly ball.
And Pete Reeser ran and got him because he wanted to leave the clubhouse and go back to the hotel. And, you know, it just came chaotic.
Out of balance.
Out of balance, yeah. But Ronnie I never seen anybody so hot and angry than Ron Santo. He was just, I was dressing right beside him. I said, Ronnie, hold it. But he just could not hold it and just exploded. And then it started spreading out in the papers and all of that. And it became very ugly at that time. You know, it kind of took the spirit out of us. You know, I talked to Vince Lloyd when he came down. I said, what can we do? What can I do to help get the spirit back. We have lost it. Well, I don't know. Talk to this guy, talk to that guy, talk to this guy. I said, I have. And he said, well, just keep playing hard. I was 41 or 2. Well, next year, we'll get them next year. We'll get them next year. My thing was always in sports that I've learned how to overcome losses. I guess I've learned a lot of that here. There's always tomorrow. And I saw this in death. My mother died, my brother, my sisters, and all that. And I just got over it. From playing here with the losses. That's what I've learned. I'm just telling you that, a secret of mine. The losses. Overcoming losses.
Did it beat you down being a member of the Cubs? You're Mr. Cub, played for nobody else. You love this franchise, you love this park, the people worship you, everything is positive. But did all the losing, all these years, even after you retired, did it beat you down to where you went? It is what it is.
That's what I said. It is what it is. And then I got something out of it. I met a lot of people. There are 800 players that played here, still living, that I played with. And I'm going over that list now and just kind of remember some of those people. And through here has been many different managers, many different players, many different coaches. And that's what I enjoyed about being here at Wrigley Field. Every year it's a new situation, it's something new. And it's not new, it's the same thing, but it's just a new attitude to it. And I enjoyed that. I really enjoyed it.
You did so many amazing things here. When you look out at the field right now, what do you imagine in your mind? Rewind your brain, what do you see? Do you see Jackie Robinson out there? Do you see your 500th home run going into left field? What do you see?
No. I think about the infield in '69 that we had. I mean, nice guys. We took a picture together for Sports Illustrated. Ronnie, Kessinger, Becker. I mean, it was just, and we were rated as the $1 million infield. I just see those guys, and how they played, their ability, their determination, and how people liked them. And one thing I really enjoyed being at this place, they played with all the players that are still with us. They're some of the nicest people I've ever met. Didn't win, but they were wonderful people. Fergie Jenkins is one of the nicest people you ever want to be. Billy Williams, nice people. They're just really nice. All the pictures Billy had, Dick Selma, Randy Hundley. I mean, they were just nice. It was just fun being with them. And you have to create like a family. And it's because of you. And when you leave that family, it kind of hurts you, to leave. You don't want to go. You want to come back. But those guys were just wonderful to be with people. They sign autographs when they go out, when they come in. They tip their cap when they hit a home run. Andre Dawson and Ryan Sandberg. And I mean, they're some of the nicest people that you ever want to meet. And Neil DeRosa said, what?
Nice guys finish last.
Yeah.
We haven't quite gotten there yet.
We haven't gotten there yet.
Coming up, a cooler head prevails.
I said, Lou, you got to relax.
Inside Look, Ernie Banks, Part 1. We'll be right back.
When you're shopping for a home, it's hard to know just how much you can afford. Experts say it's best to consider homes that are within 2.5 times your annual salary. Your expenses and debt should also be factored into the equation, so you're not stuck paying more than you can actually afford.
Is this the year you move into your dream home? Thinking of getting a mortgage? This is the year. How can we help? First Merit Bank. You first.
Shop Menards during the spring sale for unbelievable savings. Give your room a fresh look with Citation Carpet. Prospector Level Loop in 2 colors is only 57 cents a square foot. Arnett Frise in 3 colors is just 99 cents a square foot. Save energy and money with Sylvania compact fluorescent light bulbs. These micro mini bulbs last up to 10,000 hours. Choose from a 3-pack of soft white, bright white, or daylight bulbs. $6.98 each.
Save big money at Menards.
Outdoor living spaces come to life when designed with Unilock products made with Enduracolor. For a free estimate and design consultation, join us online at unilock.com. Unilock, designed to connect.
If you could go back to, I don't know, age 16, and I could walk up to you at age 16 in Dallas, Texas, and your mom and dad are there and your brothers and sisters, and I said to you, Ernie, I can see the future. There's going to be a statue of you outside Wrigley Field in Chicago. You're going to be called Mr. Cub. You're going to be in the Hall of Fame in baseball. You are going to be beloved. You're going to be with some of the most famous people in the world. What would you say to me?
Well, Jesse Jackson did that to me in L.A. And he came up to me and he said, Ernie, they're going to have a statue of you at Wrigley Field. I said, what? They're going to build a statue. I was talking to John McDonough and different people to build a statue of you at Wrigley Field. Then he left, and then he came back again. Ernie, I'm going to get a statue of you at Wrigley Field. I said, what? I didn't believe it because I thought statues were, and I've traveled to some foreign countries, those leaders of that part of the world, and I thought it meant a lot more. Plus the fact that you get a statue made of you, young people don't know who you are, they didn't see you play. So I just thought about a lot of things and that, and then all of a sudden it happened. I mean, what? Jesse was out there. I said, what? I don't believe this. Couldn't believe it. In my life, what I've seen, I travel around this city and try this world, not with blinders on, but just looking and learning and seeing and experiencing things and you know, just sharing them with, you know, with kids that I see and know. And sometimes a lot of kids will come up to me and ask me that they're going to be a pro. I got a chance to be a pro or an amateur. What would you do, Mr. Banks? And it depended upon the kid. I would see how he feels in his life and all that. I would tell him, stay an amateur. Stay an amateur. You know why?
Why?
Being a pro is tough. It takes your whole life to another level. A lot of stress. And
but you never showed that stress.
Media and all of that, huh?
You never showed that stress. You always had a smile. From the time I was a little kid watching you, Ernie Banks always looked like he was having the time of his life playing.
Yeah, and Lou Brock asked me that in New York one time. He said, Ernie, what does it take to be a major league player? I said, Lou, you got to relax. You got to learn how to relax. He said, you can do that. I can't do it. I don't want to go back to Louisiana chopping no cotton. You can do it, but I can't do it. That's what he played here. He was just, you know, really tense, and he went down there and he got a little bit more, just relax. So my relaxation came with thinking about different situations with people. Just different situations with people I know, I don't know, or friends and all of that. And then go into the batter's box, and then go to the field. But the pressure of playing professional sports is unbelievable today.
Coming up in part 2 of Inside Look Ernie Banks, we go back in time with Mr. Cub, inside the batter's box. That's next time. I'm David Kaplan. And for more information about that next broadcast, go to our website, csnchicago.com. Check TV listings. We'll see you then.